thing that we're paying close attention to is, first, we haven't got the subsoil moisture fully restored, and of course the crops need all of the moisture they can get in the subsoil. Not excess, but a lot of it. And so if we can get the moisture replaced in the subsoil, that's good. However, if it's too moist to plant successfully or without damaging the soil, then we also need to be careful of that. So there can be advantages and disadvantages. But number one, we do need to replenish the water in the soil. We need to get the streams running again. We need to get the Mississippi River running up to standard height. We don't need floods, however. Now, does this recent wet period mean that we're going to have a wet month? Their odds would slightly favor that, judging from what's happened in the past. And that might mean some delay and disruption in planting, but it should be a welcome one because it does reduce the risk of having the crops as susceptible to drought in the summer. Now, every farmer would quickly tell us that, well, now just a minute, it's been in our wettest springs that we sometimes have had our worst droughts in the summer. They're remembering things like 1983, 1947, and quite a few other years where it was so wet that the crops were poorly rooted. And if they have poor roots, they can't get through the dry spell. So we do need to make sure we plant under favorable conditions, or the wetness might just set us up for a disaster. So it's a good and a bad thing. Nevertheless, our risk of this year is to have a yield that is, for the fourth year in a row, below the national trend line. That doesn't mean below trend for your farm or for your state or your county, but it does for the nation. And we do anticipate this, but not as bad as 2012, which was a disastrous year for yield per acre. And the national average at 123.4 bushels the acre. We think it'll be above that, but still below the national average of 160 bushels to the acre, which is the trend line for our nation's corn yield.